Yes, so Hairless here. Janis Joplin is an artist I realized I know literally nothing about. I don't think I know any of her songs. I just learned right now that she died at only the age of 27. Apparently her music blended blues and rock and soul and psychedelic rock and soul. When I heard the name Janis Joplin, for some reason I always thought of a very gentle and soft voice and character. Apparently that's not the case. This is a poll winner. That's why we're reacting to this today, and the song is Me and Bobby McGee. It is a cover version.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train, and I was feeling near as faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed a diesel down just before it rained and rode us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana. I was playing soft while Bobby sang the blues. Windshield wipers slapping time, I was holding Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that Javi knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing, I mean nothing, honey, if it ain't free. No, no. Yeah, feeling good was easy, love, when he sang the blues. You know, feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee. From the Kentucky coal mine to the
What a bass line.
from the Kentucky.
It's like this very subtle chromaticism just sliding down into the next verse. And what's just happened on this verse? We've got a key change. Yeah, so we started the song here and now we've moved up. Moving up, it's a sign of growth. Perhaps you can think of it as an injection of energy along with all the extra instrumentation that we're now hearing, the percussion. Yeah, it's a song with a lot of character. Character and soul are the words that came to mind almost immediately, to be honest, as soon as she started singing. Even in the 1 minute and 18 seconds we've heard so far, she has displayed such a variety in singing techniques and ways of expressing the words. There were some really cool lines in there. The fact that they've actually put this line as a kind of lyric video maybe shows it's maybe one of the more important lines in the song, but this is certainly that line that stood out to me.
Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Kind of sad if you actually think about it. You've got nothing left to lose, so you can be free. And before that as well, I learned what a harpoon was.
I pulled my harpoon.
When she sang that, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to ask what a harpoon is and I'm going to get slated in the comments. Luckily, the video helps us out.
My dirty red bandana.
I mean, I will assume it's a harmonica. And it's a nice little story that she's telling as well, isn't it? Going hitchhiking, thumbing down a diesel. Did diesel refer specifically to one of these? I thought it could have just been any sort of vehicle that runs on diesel. Oh, and before I forget, the rock organ. So mostly the instrumentation that we're hearing is largely acoustic. But then in the chorus, we get the rock organ coming in. I love it. It's such a cool sound.
Yeah, feeling good was easy, love, when he sang.
Just sustaining these chords. And we have the root note G as the upper line moves. That's called a cadential 6/4, where the bottom line stays and the top two parts move down. But the rock organ, this very airy, fluttery, almost like a vibrating sound. I just think it's so cool.
You know, feeling good was good enough for me.
And then it comes off and we can hear the change in the music. It almost feels bare. I need to be careful using the word bare. I know there'll be someone commenting, oh, it doesn't sound bare. And yes, I would agree with you on that. It just sounds reduced. You remove the rock organ and it's just a contrast hearing this to what we had 5 seconds ago.
Good enough for for me and my Bobby McGee.
Very characterful as well, with just the little piano arpeggios just briefly played, again almost like a flutter. The rock organ in my mind is just so redolent of music of the 60s, although I suppose this technically was the 70s, but you know, close enough. Anyway, then the rock organ comes off and she sings, you know, feeling good was good enough for me and my Bobby McGee. The title of the song, very, very important. And you know, she knows this, and I love what she does with the E sound. If you just replace E with ear, like what's hidden under here, ear, that's almost what she's doing.
You know, feeling good was good enough for me.
Yeah.
Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee.
Bobby McGee. It's very stylish. An affectation I can only assume was maybe unique to her at the time. Quite different. Well, actually quite similar to when she started, but at the start just seems a lot more southern, a lot softer. We're not getting any enunciation of T's, you know, waiting instead of waiting.
Busted flat in Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
Waiting for a train.
Waiting for a train.
Was feeling near as faded as my jeans.
Blues guitar coming in there. When the song started like this, I was thinking about what I said in the introduction.
When I heard the name Janis Joplin, for some reason I always thought of a very gentle and soft voice and character.
So I was thinking, oh, maybe I was right. But then very quickly that idea was kind of turned on its head.
Oh, my harpoon and my dirty red bandana.
Like, I could take every single line that she sings and point out something interesting she's doing with it. Of course, I'm not going to, because we'll be here all day. So all I can really do is just say, well, I'll just say what I'm going to be doing as we listen on. I'll just be focusing on exactly that, all these little affectations she does, as well as trying to listen out for the instrumentation and structure and everything else. But the lines that we just heard, so much emphasis, almost quite a raw sound on the sounds.
And my dirty red bandana.
Specifically my, or ma, as she will be singing them. And any line, like if I just skip forward.
Was easy love when he sang the blues. You know,
Bit of a voice crack.
feeling good was good enough for me.
Subtle slides between the notes, and then on the notes, the rich, intense vibrato comes through, but it's such a light, airy sound. I've only heard 1 minute and 18 seconds of Janis Joplin, but I can tell the whole song will be a surprise. You never know what she's going to do next. She kind of reminds me of Amy Winehouse. And don't be that person who comments, so Hairless, they're not the same. I know they're not the same. She just reminds me of her. I think because of just how unique she is. Well, I'm really intrigued, so let's carry on.
From the Kentucky coal mine to the California sun. Hey, Bobby shared the secrets of my soul. Through all kinds of weather, through everything that we've done. Your Bobby, baby, kept me from the whole world. One day of near Selena Sloan, I let him slip away. He's looking for that home, and I hope he finds it. But I trade all of my tomorrows for one single yesterday, to be holding Bobby's body next to mine. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing, that's all that Bobby left me. But the feeling good was easy down when he sang the blues. Hey, feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and my Bobby McGee. La da da, la da da da, la da 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 da, la da da la da Bobby McGee. La da la 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 da da da, la 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 Bobby McGee. La da da, la da la.
Oh, it's so interesting to hear someone sing like this. It's so unique. If I were to describe it to a 2-year-old or to an alien, I think I'd say, imagine someone singing without putting much effort into it. Instead of enunciating, it's as though they're speaking or singing without touching their lips together. Bobby McGee, no. Bobby McGee. Such a happy-go-lucky feel. I feel like I'm going on this adventure with her, this hitchhiking adventure where you've got nothing left to lose, so just do whatever you want. Freedom is the name of the game here. I feel a bit more free listening to it. I do. Really interesting.
One single yesterday, to be holding Bobby's body next to mine.
Just the contrast we get within 2 lines, 2 consecutive lines. We start off with this very soulful, raspy sound, almost anger, if you were just to take that one note at the start of this phrase. And now we finish. You know, this airy, slow vibrato, just complete contrast. A few seconds before that, very soft.
Body next to mine. Freedom is just another word for.
I want to find an example of when she sang Lord.
I let him slip away.
Cool, isn't it?
Selena Sloan, I let him slip away.
I would just love to know how much kind of effort she puts into changing up her voice so much. Does the rasp always come naturally as she moves up in her chest voice? Does she have a weaker head voice than chest voice? To be honest, with something like this, it's actually difficult to tell just because there's so much variety in how she sings. And when you're thinking about all this and the lovely story that she's telling, I do like the lyrics a lot. It's very easy for the rest of the song to maybe be a little bit ignored. As you know, if you've seen my videos before, I think harmony is the most important thing when it comes to music. You change a note here or there, you change the harmony, it goes from major to minor, changes from happy to sad, and that's all due to the backing instruments and what they do, and of course the rhythms and structure, it all ties into it. And there's just so much going on here. Simple but consistent percussion, simple but consistent bass line, simple but consistent rock organ. The rock organ and the bass are the cause of the harmony, the bass also being quite rhythmic, the rock organ being mostly chordal, and then when you get the guitars coming in, it sounds like we get a bit of steel guitar in there as well. They're providing the licks, the riffs, a bit of extra melody.
Selena Sloan, I let him slip away. He's looking for that home, and I hope he finds it.
This chord progression here, so typical of blues. A fairly standard cadence actually. Then turn that chord into a 7th chord by adding the 7th note in there. So we have, and then it resolves. Amongst all of that, if you look at the 7th note that's added, that just moves down by 1 here. But that move is chromaticism. And to me, the chromaticism really stands out and it sounds kind of bluesy. A lot of blues does involve chromaticism, whether intentional or unintentional, you know, sliding into notes or maybe not quite hitting them, doing chromatic inflections instead. Chromatic inflection, here's an example rather than me explaining. Listen to what she does on He Finds It.
Finds it.
You know, sliding off the note instead of just sticking on the first note, which is the kind of true note. Here's her note. This is the chord at that moment. But she moves down off it, turning this chord into a 7th chord, or in other words, a slightly more dissonant chord. And talking about the instruments and the harmony and the rhythms, they're really, especially the rhythms, they're really important because the first line of every verse, there is no harmony. Well, there's just one chord, but it never moves.
Kentucky coal mine to the California sun. Yeah, Bobby shared the secrets of my soul.
Only now have we moved. If you're not changing the chords, you have to make the song interesting elsewhere. So that's where the rhythms comes in, all the little licks we get in the guitars, and of course what Janis Joplin is doing with her voice, how she chooses to sing. A lot of variety in there, just keeping it really interesting and very soulful. You can hear the syncopation now in the organ. Previously, I was saying the organ was playing really long sustained chords, and now tempo increasing. Blimey, there's a lot going on here. Visually, audioly, sonically, very kind of overstimulating. Wow. I love the sort of improvisatory feel of this, and it could well be improvisation. I mean, it probably is, especially if it's studio musicians who are accompanying her. I don't know who is playing the instruments here. And because the chord progression, the chords that happen and in which order, like I pointed out earlier, in the verses, the chord does not change for the whole first line. And overall, the chord progression, so all the chords we hear, is quite simple. Blues music tends to have a simple chord progression. And that's not because it's a musical style that's not capable of having more complex chord progressions. Quite the opposite. They keep it simple because all the complexity comes through a lot of the improvisations. You're a blues musician, you know what the chords will be, what kind of notes you're playing, and then you just freestyle it. All this is to say, and I sound like a broken record, but there's just so much soul and character. It's super groovy. How have I not used the word groovy yet?
Groovy, baby.
La, 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 la. Hey, no, Bobby McGee, yeah. No, no.
Everything's building up slowly. Up there, the piano solo has now moved higher up, but nothing is too in your face. They're taking their turns.
La, 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 la. La, 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 la.
She's evolved from singing la la la, earlier softer, to now na na na. I don't know, this is my question to you. Why does the na 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 sound a bit more angsty or a bit more rebellious or something? I don't know, why is that? She has a very mature voice, doesn't she? I'm struggling to get my head around the fact that she lived to only 27 years old. Yeah, so much going on here. Let's carry on until the end. Sorry, I wanted to carry on, and we will, but I just want to say, after I film these, I always go back and re-listen to the songs multiple times. With this one, I'm going to re-listen as many times as it takes, and each listen, I'll try and focus, especially in this section, just on one of the many textural layers that we're hearing. So one of the like instruments or lines that we're hearing, because there's so much in here. And in my head, I'm kind of switching between the bass and the organ and the piano or regular keyboard and the guitar or guitar too. And every line is so cool. They're doing these weird and wonderful things, but then you combine them all together and it becomes this sort of organized cacophony or structured chaos, or structured musical chaos rather. Yeah. Well, that was fun. Really nice video as well. This is on her official channel, and it says it's the official music video, although it was uploaded 5 years ago. I wonder what she'd think if she saw that video now. Really cool though, how the song kind of progressed. By the end of it, I wanted to become like a cowboy. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but I'm just thinking Southern America, which I think we can agree on. I hope we can agree on. But I was imagining her kind of performing in front of people in a bar and everyone just getting up and things becoming quite wild and hectic and energetic. Really cool song. Really cool song. I had no idea what to expect. My initial expectations of her being very soft and mellow completely shattered, thrown out the window. Really exciting song, simple in many ways, but also extremely complex in other ways. Just a lot to try and take in and think about. So thank you to everyone who voted on this poll. It did win. It beat Elvis Presley even. And thank you very much if you made it this far. Would really appreciate a like on the video. If you want to see more Janis Joplin, then the best way to let me know is by liking this video. The more likes, the more likely I am to do more. And in turn, comment which other songs by her you'd like to see in the future. If you don't want to write any words, then leave an emoji, please. And I think today we'll go with the peace emoji. I feel like that might be quite fitting for her. So hope to see them down below. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next one.